Let's take a look at the buttons and the tabs down at the bottom. So the main display, they have all the buttons that we've explained in previous videos. Operator, I don't think we covered that, but that's pretty simple. You can go through and name that ahead of time. So if you look at the rations tab, you press that, that will take you to the rations. The ingredients tab is right of the rations tab at the very top left. The transmit button is the box with the arrow pointing up. That will email information. So if you need to email information, that's how you would do so. I'm going to delete that draft. Okay, the pens tab is how you would look at feed groups and then also pen information. So feed groups is on the left hand side in the top left hand corner. Pens is just to the right of the feed groups. And then you can press the transmit button to email records. You can push the plus button to add feed groups. And then there's also the edit option. You can expand that screen, collapse it by pushing the expand button just underneath the time there. The mixers tab, you can see that we have the mixer's name. So this one's pretty simple. To add a mixer, you just push the plus, just cancel. The device tab down at the bottom there. The device tab will control your calibration and then also your zeroing of the scale, and then the smoothing level. The smoothing level will dictate how fast the scale moves as far as it reads. If you go over smooth terrain and then you hit a bump, that weight would spike and the smoothing level will take that down. You can adjust that based on your own preference on how jumpy the scale is. The higher you go, the more rigid the scale will be. The lower you go, the more sensitive the scale will be. So you'll see more fluctuations at a lower level than a higher level. Restoring device, that will restore the device back to its default. The update with the firmware button is when you're going to update the software of the box. You can send diagnostics out by pushing the send diagnostics button. That will send an email out. The settings tab. The settings tab is a general settings that will go back and forth between dry matter. So if you want the information to be categorized in dry matter, or if you want it to be categorized in as fed, you can do so and create a record either way. And then there's the primary display. If you pair up with an iPad first and then you introduce say like an iPhone or an additional iPad, it will go into remote mode automatically. So you always have to have one as the primary display, and then all the additional ones have to be in the remote display option, and it will do that on its own when it's paired. Each device will. Operators tab, that's how you'll go through and name your operator if need be. So you just hit info and then you can type in your operator and then add them down the list by pushing the plus button. The info button will edit, the plus button will add. More will bring up a help option. The help option will have an initial setup, and then there's an app guide. So this is going to deal with more of your initial calibration, and then the app guide will talk about all the features that we've gone over. The about will tell you which software you're on, and then you can look at the show tutorial that we mentioned earlier that explains all the different tabs that you'll encounter along the way. And then this one basically talks about the data management. Then just press done. If you ever do need to revisit that, just press show tutorial. So that's the basic rundown of that portion of the application.